Hello everyone, I'm here to tell the legendary story of the mythical Norse demon wolf who caused Ragnarok. So, Fenrir is the offspring of Loki and Angrboda. Although Loki is depicted in the Marvel Universe as the brother of Hel, he is not. Loki is the god of mischief and chaos. He's also known as a trickster god that often causes trouble for the Aesir, which is a tribe of deities consisting of Odin, Frigg, Tyr, and Thor. However, it's often fixed and made up for the added benefit of them afterwards. Angrboda is a witch and a giantess and was killed 3 times by Odin and his pantheon and was burnt by the gods. She is described by people as the depiction and embodiment of misery, and her name in translation is she who offers sorrow and the one who brings grief. In other adaptations, however, she is known for her fight and renowned for her empathy, maternal nature, and desire to help and heal others. It's also been said that the primary villains of the Norse mythology is Loki and Surtur. Surtur is a fire demon and giant who is destined to lead the fire giants into war against the gods and Loki's children. Loki found and devoured Angrboda's heart and became fertilized with it, to which he gave birth to their 3 children who would grow up to later destroy all of mankind. Fenrir is one of 3. The other is Hel, the queen of Helheim, and is half alive, half dead, and the other is Jormungand, a large serpent. Jormungandr grew to be a serpent so large that it circled the entire world with its tail in its mouth. He's known as a Midgard serpent, the enemy of Thor, and, like his siblings, a symbol of predestination. Hel was banished to a different realm, the underworld, Helheim, to rule there as queen until the day Ragnarok begins and she is freed. Fenrir grew to have offspring, Skoll and Heidi, who would live out their existences chasing the moon and sun until Ragnarok ends the world, which is inevitable, which will then cause them to descend into darkness. His nickname is Fenris Wolf. Fenrir can also be translated to he who dwells in the marches. In Old Norse, it was found that Fenrir was held to a rock on the isle Lovingi, which is no longer called that, so the island is unknown. Fenrir was a very fast and agile wolf that began to grow too large, so the Aesir decided to bind him to a rock set on a private remote island that would ensure he would be held in place. Fenrir was smart, so the Aesir had to trick him into a game of testing his strength in order to bind him properly. The Aesir showed Loding a strong leash and asked Fenrir's permission to bind him to test his strength. Sure enough, the leash broke with a simple stretch of his legs. They then brought a leash twice as strong as the first, Jomi, and just as the same, it shattered into pieces. The gods began to worry. Odin went forth to require the dwarves' help in creating a stronger leash, who happened to be the best known craftsman in the world. The new leash would be light but stronger than iron and went by the name of Gleipnir. Made of 6 ingredients, which were a woman's beard, a mountain's roots, the spittle of a bird, fish's breath, sinews of a bear, and a cat's walk. Fenrir was skeptical at the sight of it, seeing no glory in breaking such a small and feeble chain. He also suspected that in the event he could not break it, they wouldn't set him free. He wouldn't allow them to bind him unless they placed a hand in his mouth to pledge that the leash had not been forged with Sidir magic. The gods were fearful until the god Tyr decided to do it, stepping forth bravely and placing his right hand into the wolf's mouth. As soon as the moment came to pass, the gods wasted no time in quickly binding the wolf to the rock, and Tyr lost his right hand in the process. With every thrash and movement, the chain only grew tighter. Detained and tightly held in place, one of the Aesir pierced his sword into Fenrir's jaw, ensuring that the wolf's mouth would never be opened again. The gods laughed at this disposition. A once strong, tall, and powerful wolf was now reduced to almost nothing. They walked away believing he was no longer a threat, but Fenrir declared, "Treacherous Odin, if you had not lied to me, I would have been a friend to the gods. But your fear has betrayed you. I will kill you, father of the gods. I will wait until the end of all things, and I will eat the sun, and I will eat the moon. But I will take the most pleasure in killing you." As time went on, the only god that would come to feed Fenrir was Tyr. Later on, Fenrir was the only one to exact Odin's undoing at Ragnarok. Furthermore, the event of the world's end, Ragnarok, will open up by Fenrir's sons, Skoll and Hedi, swallowing the sun and the moon, which will cause the stars to completely vanish from the sky. Chaos will ensue as the world tears itself apart. Mountains will collapse, chains will shatter, and trees will be pulled from their roots, and Fenrir will be free. Fenrir will scour the land and conspire with his siblings against the gods who wronged him. To quote the mythology, it says, "While walking towards the doom of the world, flames will burn from his eyes and nostrils, and its enormous mouth will be wide open. The lower jaw will touch the earth, and the upper jaw will touch the sky." Fenrir symbolizes pure, unadulterated savagery and cunning that cannot be controlled, even by the gods. In the mythology, his purpose is to scour the world with his upper jaw in the sky and his lower dragging on the ground, devouring everything in his path. In this way, he symbolizes wild ferocity and destruction. He was also born from great intelligence but became an enemy of the gods due to his evil temperament. The vengeful wolf will go on to battle Odin, swallowing him. Fenrir will meet his undoing when Vidar places his shoe in his mouth, a hand on his upper jaw, and splits the wolf's jaws apart. Other storytellings say that Vidar had struck him in the heart with his sword, but nonetheless, this is Fenrir's end. However, in modern pop culture, Fenrir is depicted in various different ways. In Harry Potter, he appears as a werewolf by the name of Fenrir Greyback. He's also depicted in the Marvel Universe and in video games. He was born from the traitorous god Loki and the giantess Ingerbada, one of 3 children, and went on to have 2 children with an unidentified wolf. That is where he sired Skoll and Hedi, the beasts who would go on to devour the sun and the moon. What I find particularly interesting about this myth is that the gods were so keen on binding the wolf to the rock, knowing that he would then go on to destroy them, as it was prophesied. They did it in an attempt to subdue him, but it wasn't worthwhile. They did it to possibly stop the prophecy from happening. However, they put the prophecy in place by doing so, and they put themselves on the path of destruction. There are also significant similarities between the story of Ragnarok and volcanic eruptions. So there's a possibility that Ragnarok was inspired by these natural disasters occurring in everyday life. So the question arises, did Ragnarok ever really happen? This is what I found. Apparently, the Viking calendar actually placed Ragnarok and virtually the end of the world on February 22nd, 2014. Now, this was predicted by the Jorvik Viking Center Museum. It happened to coincide with their annual festival, but Ragnarok and the natural disasters that occurred did not happen. Theorists, and in less academic terms, the crazies, also believe that Ragnarok could possibly not be a literal term. Some believe that each natural disaster is merely symbolic and not literal, and the world really did end in 2014. Ragnarok predicts that giants and demons, beings of evil and hellfire, will arise to defeat the gods and eradicate them, to which they will all meet their deaths as heroes. The gods will live on in harmony under a roof of gold. The world tree, which is named Yggdrasil, was not destroyed, and this is where there is good news for Asgardians. That's a reference to Marvel Universe, by the way. In some versions, the world could possibly rise anew, and 2 human survivors could emerge from the world tree and begin a new population. So it doesn't have to mean that it's the world's end. Nonetheless, here lies the story of Fenrir and Ragnarok. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.